The United States charts a new course for Haitian refugees. A new development in the case of Kimberly Mays, the Florida girl switched at birth. And a reservoir dig in California turns up evidence of vanished civilizations. Headline News, I'm Marilyn Ringo in for Bob Lozier. The White House is reportedly set to liberalize its policy on Haitian refugees. An administration official says President Clinton has decided to stop sending Haitians back to their country without political asylum hearings. Instead, refugees would reportedly be given hearings aboard U.S. ships or in other countries. In meeting Saturday, the president and his advisors also reportedly worked on ways to enforce the UN's stepped-up sanctions on Haiti. The virtually complete trade embargo is meant to force the country's military leaders to resign and allow ousted President Jean-Bertrand Aristide to return to office. As Jill Doherty reports, Haiti is just one of many pressing matters facing the president.
Energize you.
A feisty President Clinton began the week battling for votes in Congress to ban assault weapons.
To tell them this is not about gun control, it's about crime control.
And he talked tough on Haiti, too.
I think that we cannot afford to discount the prospect of a military option.
Lobbying by photo op and telephone, he kept up the pressure for a weapons ban. By Thursday, his Haiti policy was once more under fire as members of Congress protested and were arrested at the White House gates. As the days went by, high points seemed to be followed by low points.
Whether in South Africa or America, we know there is no finish line to democracy's work.
Thursday, responding to South Africa's historic elections, the president unveiled a $600 million aid package, and the House gave him a victory by passing the assault weapon ban.
Demonstrated extraordinary courage in the face of extraordinary political pressure to walk away.
But that same day, the independent counsel investigating Whitewater subpoenaed all documents related to the suicide of Vince Foster. Friday, Mr. Clinton made another pitch for health care reform.
It's going to take the same discipline that was required to deal with the problems of the economy, the same courage that was required to take that vote yesterday on assault weapons.
But the same day, there were reports the president's congressional point man on health care was facing possible indictment. And that day, the president was sued by an Arkansas state employee for alleged sexual harassment. The president refused comment.
I don't have anything to add to what Mr. Bennett said. I'm going back to work.
His lawyer did not.
We absolutely deny, without any question, that this incident occurred.
A new CNN Time poll taken midweek shows President Clinton's approval rating steady at 48%. As for the ups and downs, White House aides say they're getting used to it. They claim in the end, Mr. Clinton will be judged on his accomplishments, not on what they term markers on the road. Jill Doherty, CNN, the White House.
President Clinton is tying health care reform to Mother's Day. In his weekly radio address, Mr. Clinton said women are the traditional family caregivers, but their own health needs are often ignored. He said Americans should make sure that by next Mother's Day, no one will ever have to worry about older women being able to find affordable care. President Clinton may seek outside help to cover costs from his recent legal troubles. U.S. News and World Report says the president and first lady are considering forming a legal defense fund. The money would help pay lawyer fees from Whitewater and the new sexual harassment lawsuit filed by Paula Jones. Another twist in the story of Kimberly Mays, the Florida girl who was switched at birth. Her biological parents now have custody of her. They'll be her legal guardians along with the man who raised her. An attorney says the agreement took a week of negotiations. Last summer, Kimberly went to court to remain with Robert Mays, but in March, she abruptly left him and went to live with Ernest and Regina Twigg, seen here. The Twiggs' lawyer says everyone involved is satisfied with the new arrangement.
The Twiggs and Mr. Mays have agreed that any further disputes will be resolved by a court-appointed family mediator. The only possible disputes could be if Kimberly said she doesn't want to live with the Twiggs anymore, and if she says that, then she would only be allowed to leave the Twigg household if both Bob Mays and Mr. and Mrs. Twigg agreed that that would be in Kimberly's best interest, or if if they happen to disagree about that, then the court-appointed family mediator would make a final decision regarding Kimberly's request to leave. If that ever occurred, we don't anticipate that happening.
Kimberly was switched at birth in 1978 with a girl who later died of a heart defect. Genetic testing revealed the swap. There are conflicting reports on the condition of the American teen who was caned in Singapore Thursday for vandalism. Singapore's Prisons Department released a statement saying Michael Fay shook the hand of the man who gave him 4 lashes, smiled, and walked to his cell. But George Fay says his son Michael is in continual pain, has difficulty walking, and cannot sit. He says his account is based on information from U.S. diplomat John Coe, who saw Michael in prison Friday. Coe and another diplomat were called to the Singapore Ministry of Foreign Affairs over the comments. Hundreds of Americans and other non-nationals are fleeing the fighting in Yemen. A second evacuation is planned for Sunday. Saturday, the U.S. helped fly some of the 1,500 Westerners living there to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Skirmishes between northern and southern troops erupted into full-scale war last Wednesday. Sources say northern forces appear to have the upper hand, but say the troops of the formerly Marxist South are well-trained and well-led. An Israeli official says U.S. Secretary of State Warren Christopher will again try to move forward peace talks between Syria and Israel. The head of Israel's government press office says Christopher will arrive in Syria next week to help settle a dispute over the Golan Heights. Elsewhere, Palestinian police left Egypt Saturday for the Gaza Strip. They will replace Israeli forces as part of a Palestinian self-rule deal for Gaza and Jericho, signed by Israel and the PLO Wednesday. In Sarajevo, UN officials are trying to find as many as 4 Serb tanks believed to be inside the protected zone around the Bosnian capital. One of the tanks disappeared while under UN escort. Rob Reynolds has details.
A Bosnian Serb tank has gone missing somewhere in the 20-kilometer weapons exclusion zone around Sarajevo. UN forces, which had allowed 5 Serb tanks to pass through the zone earlier, wanted to impound the tank, but were outwitted by Serb soldiers.
There was a deliberate attempt by the BSA escort, which was behind the tank or the transporter, to slow down the NMOs. So they lost sight of the transporter.
The UN sent patrols to search for the missing tank, but their access to areas under Serb control is limited, and so far they haven't found it. The Bosnian Serbs asked permission to move the tanks through the zone because they said Bosnian government forces were massing for an attack against them. In return, the Serbs promised to allow UN forces access to the Muslim enclave of Gorazde and the northern town of Brčko. The missing tank incident is yet another embarrassment for UN forces here. They've already been battered by criticism over the decision to allow Serb tanks through the exclusion zone in the first place. UN Chief Representative Yasushi Akashi, who authorized the tank deal, was bluntly called upon to shape up by a U.S. State Department spokeswoman.
We would like to see him do a better job. We would not like to see him continue to acquiesce in actions which violate the exclusion zone.
The Bosnian government has called on Akashi to resign and says his actions have jeopardized the prospects for peace negotiations. Rob Reynolds, CNN, Sarajevo.
Religious conservative voters in Austin, Texas are claiming victory on a controversial measure. With about 87% of Saturday's vote counted, more than 60% support repealing Proposition 22. The measure would only allow city employees to collect health benefits for specified relatives or their husband or wife. That would overturn a law adopted in September that extended benefits to the unmarried and homosexual partners of city employees. Austin residents also voted for mayor. A white supremacist march through South Boston has gone off without incident. About 20 people joined the supremacist nationalist movement rally. 300 to 400 people showed up for a counter demonstration, and several hundred more shouted "Go home" to both sides. Hundreds of riot police were deployed, but no arrests or injuries were reported. Serial killer John Wayne Gacy may have a legal basis to appeal his death sentence. His lawyer says his mental condition is deteriorating, and this could raise questions about his fitness for execution. Gacy is scheduled for lethal injection Tuesday. He murdered 33 men and boys in the 1970s. Pollution may be on the wane in the Great Lakes. Reports just released at a scientific conference suggest levels of a number of toxic compounds have fallen in people and animals living near the lakes. But the level of mercury is rising, and researchers reportedly disagree over whether the lower levels mean the lake area environment is actually safer. Archaeological digs are sometimes made in places you wouldn't expect. Jim Hill reports on how scientists are digging Southern California.
To look at Southern California's remote Domenegoni Valley, you'd never suspect it. But it holds both a wealth of ancient history and a hope for the future. Archaeologists are sifting through nearly 80 ruins, from 8,000-year-old prehistoric camps to 500-year-old Indian villages and settlers' homes of the 1800s.
This feature here is a half of a fire hearth feature that we uncovered.
The valley is to be filled with water 5 years from now to create the biggest reservoir in Southern California. By state law, archaeologists must first chart any significant historical sites. So, in a way, future development led to discovery of the past.
I think our presence sort of fills in that segment of history. I think it's history that's been found rather than history that's been lost.
The contract scientists have carefully dug up some fascinating discoveries. Ancient tools made out of stone, beads and trinkets that indicate the ancient people traded with coastal and desert tribes, and 4 intact tusks from prehistoric mammoths that once roamed the valley. Thousands of items are sorted to determine which have value.
Tools or work modified pieces of bone or groundstone.
And which do not.
NCMDSC, non-cultural material discarded.
So much material has been found here, it may be the most significant find in years.
We have a real good chance of contributing an enormous amount of information to the prehistory of the area, and possibly even rewriting some of the prehistory.
As part of the effort, Native Americans from the Luiseño and Cahuilla tribes are also involved. They've been worried ancient burial remains will be lost, but officials have agreed to help them remove any remains to a 10-acre site for burial. In the long history of the valley, people came to it because of its water, its creeks, and its catchment areas. Ironically, its future importance will be the same, as a reservoir to supply water for 15 million people in Southern California. Jim Hill for CNN, Los Angeles.
Next in Headline Consumer News, if it's spring, it must be time to show off those toes.
Look for fair weather from the Great Lakes to the Tennessee Valley Sunday. Scattered showers will fall in the Northeast and across the Rocky Mountain states.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
It's the Washington State Daily Keno Drawing for Saturday, May 7th, 1994. Now, get ready as the 20 numbers are selected. All drawings are witnessed and verified by a representative from the certified public accounting firm of Gaddis, Cleese & Company. Tonight's 20 numbers: 8, 10, 12, 16, 19, 22, 24, 27, 28, 31, 35, 49, 51, 52, 59, 69, 73, 76, 77, and 78. Numbers drawn are not official until validated.
Not too many people are into truck fishing. Most people still use poles. That's fine with me, but if you're after some monster fish, you gotta use one of these. A 1994 Ford Ranger 4x4. Come on. Complete with push-button four-wheel drive, a nice wide stance, and a whopping 4-liter V6. So sink your boat. Go truck fishing. Get a Ford Ranger 4x4 and get serious.
Everything was going fine. Suddenly you felt the machine grab your arm and then everything went black.
Ben Johnson was severely injured. The insurance company is pushing him to settle. He called us to be sure he gets a fair settlement.
Now is when you need the experience of a Beta Nelson. Their law office has successfully handled thousands of accident claims, many involving dangerous products.
Call the insurance company and tell them we're on the case. They're to deal only with us.
If a serious accident has occurred, call the firm that gets results. Call a Beta Nelson.
With summer approaching, people are looking for lighter fare for their feet, and fashion designers have just what they need, as Elsa Clinch reports.
Sturdy sandals with wider straps is the major message in the spring collections from Diego Della Valle in Milan and Robert Clergeray in Paris. Heel heights go from low for day to high at night. The new look is a textured thin wedge. Platforms have stepped out of the spotlight except for the occasional clunky mule. Della Valle does his spring sandals in spicy eastern colors and soothing neutrals.
È molto importante il bianco e tutte le tonalità dei colori sabbia.
The main trend is toward cream, taupe, and sand, but I do love brighter colors for day as well. For example, saffron, paprika, curry, and sage. For evening, my colors are more luxurious: copper, bronze, platinum, and midnight blue.
What materials are you using?
Materiali, ci sono vitelli opachi.
Calfskin is very popular, and of course suede. Suede that gives the sandals a velvety quality. We've also used snakeskin, but our main criteria is that everything looks as soft as possible to offset the stronger shapes.
Do you think silver is coming back as a new metallic?
Yes, definitely. We haven't seen silver in quite some time, and it goes great with all the white that we are seeing for spring.
The ankle strap is a new focal point of the foot.
Sì, soprattutto nelle scarpe da sera, nelle scarpe eleganti.
The ankle can be very sexy, and ankle straps draw attention there. They wrap the ankle seductively and give a very feminine quality to the foot.
In Paris, Robert Clergeray believes in a sportier, easy sandal for spring. His favorites include the fisherman sandal with a tractor sole and a casual hippie style.
They are changing in a very, to an heavier look. And there is a big change with the sole and the design of the upper. In fact, when you design a collection, you have always in a collection in part of the past, part of the present, a part of the future.
For a funky feeling, Clergeray printed a 60s style wallpaper motif on Napa leather. A chunky heel changes the look of the mule. The most futuristic sandal for spring has a higher heel and narrow last. The sole and heel are made of metal, the upper from plastic tubing.
It's an experiment. And you know, on the foot it looks very nice.
That's a look at spring sandals. Elsa Clinch, CNN, Paris.
The Sonics get shocked. NBA playoff action and more next in Headline Sports.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
It's Walker's Furniture Big Oak Blowout Sale. With no money down, no payments, and no interest for 6 months. This Saturday, Sunday, and Monday only, you can buy beautiful quality oak furniture that lasts a lifetime. All on sale at unbelievable low prices. With big factory direct savings up to 50% off on all solid oak furniture. This Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, it's Walker's Furniture Big Oak Blowout Sale. This is the sale you've waited all year for.
With all these features, it should come as no surprise that the 1994 GMC Sierra handles the road this easily. What may surprise you, however, is that its GMAC Smart Lease is equally easy to handle. Sierra from GMC Truck.
This is Dave Cotton with Headline Sports. Well, all those wins in the regular season seem trivial now for the Seattle Supersonics. 63 wins, but the heavily favored Sonics couldn't manage another 3 against the Denver Nuggets, who became the first number 8 seed in NBA playoff history to beat a number 1 seed. Dikembe Mutombo with 8 blocks as Denver shocked the Sonics 98-94 in overtime. Robert Pack led the Nuggets with 23. Afterwards, he talked about the historic win.
It's a big thrill. We knew coming in it was going to be tough for us. They have the best record in the league, you know, one of the top teams. And we just wanted to be relaxed. And we did that and didn't lose our composure. And, you know, we made history now.
In the 120th running of the Kentucky Derby, it was Gopher Gin capturing the Bed of Roses with a wire-to-wire win. 2 lengths ahead of Strode's Creek. Bloomin' Affair finished in the show position. Holy Bull, the pre-race favorite, faltered badly, finishing 12th out of 14. To the Stanley Cup playoffs, both games took place in the East. The home team had not won a game in the Devils-Bruins series, and it still hasn't. The Devils' Stephane Richer scored with 14 minutes into overtime to help the Devils square the series, winning by a final of 5-4. In the other game, the Capitals handed the Rangers their first loss of the playoffs. Todd Krieger scored twice as Washington won at 4-2, but still trails 3-1 in the series. Baseball, you want to talk about a hard luck loss? Montreal's Jeff Fassero took a shutout into the 9th inning against the Braves, when with his team down 1-0, the Braves' Mark Lemke cranked a game-winning 2-out, 2-run homer. Tom Glavine, who had allowed just 4 hits, gets the win to improve to 3-3 as the Braves win in dramatic fashion 2-1. The Dodgers went up 2-1 in their series with the Giants. The Reds over the Astros in a slugfest. The Marlins outlumbered the Phils. Rich Renteria with the game-winning RBI. The Cubs and Pirates washed out. Bobby Jones shut out the Cardinals, and the Padres rallied for 2 in the 9th to beat the Rockies. American League, Mack is back. The Twins' Shane Mack, plagued by injuries last season and early this year, is once again healthy and productive. He ripped a solo homer to give the Twins a 3-2 lead against the Rangers, and they went on to win it 9-7. Detroit big over Seattle. Chris Gomez with 2 homers. The Orioles and Indians rained out. The Yankees handed Red Sox reliever Jeff Russell his 3rd blown save in 11 games. Toronto edged the Brewers. KC doubled the Royals, and Oakland putting it to California. In golf, Big John Daly is in position to win his first PGA Tour event in 2 years. Here, the bomb at 16, helping Daly shoot a 369 for a 2-shot lead after 3 rounds of the Bell South Classic in Atlanta. And in boxing, Terry Norris regained the WBC Super Welterweight title with a unanimous 12-round decision over Simon Brown, and Julio Cesar Chavez regained the WBC Super Lightweight belt. Dave Cotton, Headline Sports.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.
I believe in Buick. I believe in American pride.
Walker's Furniture Big Oak Blowout Sale. With no money down, no payments, and no interest for 6 months. This Saturday, Sunday, and Monday only, you can buy beautiful quality oak furniture that lasts a lifetime. All on sale at unbelievable low prices. With big factory direct savings up to 50% off on all solid oak furniture. This Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, it's Walker's Furniture Big Oak Blowout Sale. This is the sale you've waited all year for.
If you have a tattoo, you should be in Houston. The city is hosting its first annual tattoo exposition this weekend. The event includes live and photo competitions for categories like Most Unique, Best Native American Motif, and Most Nostalgic. A Houston tattoo shop is sponsoring the expo. One strict rule, no last-minute tattoos. All must be fully healed. Mexico has never been known as a movie mecca, but now a Mexican film is about to become the biggest non-English language release in American cinematic history. Dennis Michael reports.
Ghosts casually stroll through the story, and unspoken passion suddenly is expressed through a spicy recipe. Literary school of magical realism is the flavor of like water for chocolate, and American audiences have responded. The film has been in release for over a year in U.S. cinemas, and this week it'll pass the $21 million mark at domestic box office, becoming the biggest non-English language release in U.S. history. Why this film? Alfonso Arrau, the movie's director, has an immediate answer.
I don't know. The most rational explanation that I can give you is that it's a miracle. No? You never know. You always work in the film, put in all your heart. You always do your best, or try to do your best, and then you cross your fingers.
The film's based on the spectacularly popular novel, which was written by Arau's wife, Laura Esquivel. The filmmaker was set to produce the film, but originally was hesitant to direct it.
I decided to direct it because Laura, the author, wanted me to direct it because I was the closest person to the project. And I am very glad she asked.
And more so now, because the success of Like Water for Chocolate has opened the doors for future work by Alfonso Arau.
Hollywood, the major leagues have invited me to participate, so I accepted the challenge, of course. And I'm preparing now a film for 20th Century Fox that is called A Walk in the Clouds. Keanu Reeves is going to star it, and it's going to be my first film in English.
In the earlier days of Arau's career in Mexico as a director, he often came to the U.S. film industry to raise money for his projects as an actor in films like Three Amigos and Romancing the Stone. Now that he's arrived as a director, he doesn't want to depart as an actor.
I don't want to forget acting. It's a lot of fun. For me, I like it very much. You know, the producer gets the money. The actor gets the fame and the girl. And the directors get the headache.
They're funny guys. Just kill one of them.
Dennis Michael, CNN Entertainment News, Hollywood.
The floors of state legislatures are usually filled with heated debates, arguments, and arm twisting. But the Alaska House had a special legislative proposal Friday, a marriage proposal. TV reporter Brian O'Donoghue enlisted a state representative to pop the question to newspaper reporter Kate Ripley on the House floor.
Therefore, be it resolved that the 18th Alaska State Legislature assists Brian O'Donoghue in popping the question. The question being, shall Kate marry Brian? Members of the 18th Alaska State Legislature extend their warmest best wishes to Kate and Brian and wish them a long and happy life together with love and laughter. Thank you very much, Matt.
After a few moments of privacy, the couple announced the decision. The answer was yes. The vote was unanimous. I'm Marilyn Ringo, and this is Headline News.
This is Headline News, a CNN network.